I'm Harrison Graham. Busy day at Hallis Hall. It is Coordinator Thursday as we hear from Dennis Allen, Richard Hightower, and Declan Doyle. Plus, we get into the latest injury news leading up to Bears versus Rams on Sunday night. All right, Dennis Allen speaking to the media today, talking about CJ Gardner-Johnson and how he'll fit back into the game plan along with Kyler Gordon, who made his return last week. DA saying both will have a role on Sunday. And it's going to be interesting to see how they kind of mix and match those two guys. Does Kyler Gordon play occasional snaps at outside corner? Does CJ Gardner-Johnson or Kyler Gordon get used as kind of a hybrid linebacker? I could see CJ Gardner-Johnson being used in the box a lot. Down the stretch of the season, he was struggling a bit in coverage, especially in one-on-one situations. I think he's a much better downhill player when he's able to play with instincts and, mix it up in the run game and things like that. When he's having to play laterally, when he's having to defend twitchy players one-on-one, it's just a big challenge for him. We'll see if Kyler Gordon can do some of those responsibilities. I think you'll see an occasional play or two where both are in and both blitz, and you just get those guys on the edge and try to make Matthew Stafford uncomfortable. Here's what I do know. Both these guys are chess pieces, and I want to see them out there a lot on Sunday and out there together as much as possible. Dennis Allen, this is aggregated by 79th and Hallis, saying that even though things to improve on, he does feel Tyreek Stevenson played well on Sunday. So I think that's also going to be interesting because we saw Tyreek get back into the mix last week. How do they stagger the outside corners? Is it a rotation? Is it Nashawn Wright and Jalen start and they feel it out from there? I will say this, to Nashawn Wright and Jalen Johnson's credit, I thought both played pretty well in the second half when they had to have it. Jalen had a nice breakup on a slant toward Christian Watson. I thought it was his best rep of the year, other than maybe that pick six he created off of Brock Purdy in Week 17. It's like, that's the old Jalen Johnson. It's like, reads it, identifies, gets a hand in there, punches it out. That was a really good play. I thought he looked better in the second half. I thought Nashawn Wright played better in the second half. He was in a good position a couple of times as well. And then obviously when Tyreek Stevenson's been out there in recent weeks, I think he's played well. So in a perfect world, you have three good outside corners the rest of the way, and you can mix and match or ride the hot hand or whatever the case may be. But these are good problems to have. So hopefully that continues. And you need these guys to play well because Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua, who DA praised and said there is no weakness to his game, those are two very difficult players to defend on the outside in a football game of this magnitude. Declan Doyle had this to say about Caleb Williams' ability to lead comebacks. Said, confidence is born of demonstrated ability. They have demonstrated to themselves that they could be in these tough moments and they can keep swinging. Yeah, and they've talked about it all year. They've done it all year. Caleb, this Bears team, they are not intimidated by the moment. They have 7 comeback wins in the final 2 minutes of games. It is one of those deals where if Caleb has the ball late, you feel good about your chances. It's not a 100% hit rate, but you feel pretty confident he's going to give you a chance to win in those situations. So, I think it starts from the coaching, the attitude, the mindset that they brought in, the tough practicing during training camp. Like, you build those calluses, and, the tougher team mentally and physically a lot of the time wins these games. Obviously, the details are most important, but when you get down to crunch time, it's details first and toughness second. How can you overcome adversity? We know this team can do that very, very well because they've done it all year. They've been in tight games all year, and they've won a ton of tough and tight games. Okay, let's talk special teams real quick. Richard Hightower putting all of his faith in Cairo, was asked about the challenge of him kicking in a freezing cold Soldier Field this Sunday. Says, quote, Cairo is a consummate pro, full confidence in him kicking in the elements. And I think we have to have full faith in Cairo at this point. Look, we all know what the deal with Cairo is. He doesn't have the biggest leg. But you know what? The guy is a cold elements kicker. Just because he can't try 60, 65 yarders, the ones he can try, the ones he's in range for, you feel very confident he's going to split the uprights. He was a big reason the Bears beat the Packers. He went 3 for 3 on kicks, including a huge 51-yarder after Caleb Williams got strip sacked, and they lost about 10 yards where Ozzie Trapiller or Drew Dahlman, can't remember, one of those guys recovered the fumble, and they had to kick. Brandon McManus missed 2 field goals and an extra point. The kicking game was a huge factor on Sunday. Devin Duvernay had a couple of nice returns. Richard Hightower's unit has been playing really well for a few months now. So I feel good about that group. I feel good about Cairo. We didn't even see Torrey Taylor. They didn't punt. They were either going on fourth down and not getting it or scoring points. So we'll see what the third phase looks like this week. But that group's in a groove right now. And it's nice when you have, you're watching a game, you're like, you don't want to be holding your breath during special teams because that's what Rams fans have to do. Their special teams units are atrocious. Now, this new kicker they have has been better, but they've had a bunch of kicks, some punts blocked this year, the return game, return coverage. It's all struggled, so that could play a big role, especially in cold and windy elements at Soldier Field this week. Subscribe to the channel. We are trying to get to 154,000 subscribers before Sunday's game. Can we get there? We're 578 away. I know there's a lot of Bears fans out there watching right now that haven't subscribed. Take the plunge. It's free. We don't charge a dime. Turn on those notifications while you're at it. We would appreciate the love and the support as always. All right, coming up, the latest Bears and Rams injury news as we get closer and closer to kickoff on Sunday. We'll catch you up on that. But first, got to tell you guys about our awesome sponsor. That is Prize Picks, daily fantasy made easy at prizepicks.com/CLNS. Whether you're starting a new routine or making player picks for the first time, trying something new can be hard. But in life and on Prize Picks, it always feels good to be right. With high-pressure playoff matchups every weekend and elite hoops action almost every night, the action never stops. And Prize Picks lets you take control. Prize Picks is the only app that offers stacks, meaning you could pick the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. Want to pick more on Caleb Williams' pass yards, rush yards, and touchdowns? Now you can, all in the same lineup, only on Prize Picks. I took a little 3-player lineup for you guys this weekend. I took more on Caleb's passing yards. He's been on a heater recently. More on Colston Loveland's receiving yards. He's really been on a heater. And then Puka Nacua has been awesome all year, so I do think he'll score a touchdown. Took more than half a receiving or rushing touchdown. Doesn't matter which. $20 entry to win $85. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use our code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it is good to be right. All right, let's get to the Bears injury news and report for Thursday. Things continue to look good for Chicago. All 5 of these players were full participants. Braxton Jones, who's made his way back from injury. Got to give him a lot of credit for battling back. Hasn't played since September. All 3 players who missed last week with the concussion, CJ Gardner-Johnson, Amen Ogbongbemiga, Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, full participants today. And then Jalen Reeves-Maybin, who could get some snaps at linebacker, who was limited yesterday, was full today with that back injury. Now, both DJ Moore and Rome Odunze were limited today. DJ with the knee, and of course, Rome's been dealing with that foot issue. We'll see. I feel confident they're going to play, and they're just kind of managing their workload at this point in the season. Obviously, Rome has had that stress fracture, and then DJ Moore has just kind of dealt with nicks and bruises all year. The only player who it looks like is probably not going to play is Nick McLeod, is dealing with a groin injury. Not sure when that happened. Must have been during the game at some point, but he has not practiced this week. So I would not expect him to be out there. Now, for the Rams, the big injury to watch is Kevin Dotson, their guard, who is a really good player, and you could argue their best offensive lineman. He's pushing to try and play on Sunday. Here's what he had to say to the media. He said, even the last game, he says, it really hurt me to not be out there with my guys. Hopefully I can be here for this game, and I want to be here to make an impact. We take it day to day, and we have a lot of tests that we have to go through first before we can truly assess it. I think he's their best offensive lineman when healthy. I mean, you could say Alaric Jackson, he's solid at left tackle, but Kevin Dotson is good in pass pro. He can move. You can use him in the run game effectively. So that's obviously a big deal if he plays. Is this one of those that's like a game-time decision? I would guess they probably put him in the questionable category for this football game, but I would guess he gives it a go, even if he's not 100%. And if he does play, that's obviously a big deal for their running game and, of course, for Matthew Stafford. All right, the Rams injury report as a whole. Speaking of Kevin Dotson, he was limited again, so probably going to be in that questionable game designation. We'll see how they list him tomorrow. We'll have any updates as they come in. Darius Williams, who missed yesterday with the personal issue, he was full. I think he and his wife had a baby I'll double check that, but no injury there. Poona Ford elevated from limited to full, so no concern there with the elbow. Stafford full again with that finger injury. Xavier Smith, Josh Wallace full as well. Terrence Ferguson full once again with that hamstring, so barring a setback, he's going to be good to go, as is Quentin Lake with that foot injury. Jordan Whittington popped up with the knee, but he was full, so we'll see if there's anything to monitor tomorrow. And then Jimmy Garoppolo, DNP today with the back injury. He is the backup, so if he can't go, if he's inactive for the game, Stetson Bennett would be the backup. And cold game, you take a big hit, you never know. Could be significant, so we will monitor that as well. But Kevin Dotson, the big injury to watch for LA. All right, guys, who do you guys think wins on Sunday? Be honest. I want your honest answer here. Type CHI for the Chicago Bears. Type LAR for the Los Angeles Rams. For now, I'm sticking with the Bears, 30-28. I think the elements are going to play a big role, and I think the Bears can score points on this defense. Give me CHI. I like Chicago on Sunday. It's Chicago. Yeah. Hit that subscribe button. We will be here all week long, and, of course, Sunday night. Kickoff 5:30. He'll probably go live 3:30. I think a full 2 hours again. We will be ready to rock and roll, seeing what's going on in the game before us, which is Texans-Patriots, and then, of course, getting you ready for kickoff. Going to be a fun night. Subscribe. Join us. Hope to see you there. Bear down.